Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Art of Being a Woman. I'm your host, Courtney, and today we are discussing the art of overcoming people pleasing. I am very excited to discuss this topic in depth, not only because it's a very popular topic, but because once you understand what's at the root of people pleasing, you'll realize that it doesn't benefit anyone. It doesn't benefit you as the people pleaser, and it doesn't benefit the people that you're in relationships with. This is something that I experienced firsthand for most of my life. I am only now getting to a point where I am very comfortable with not pleasing everyone in my life and not being liked. I think a lot of that has been influenced by realizing over time that it can be very draining to be a people pleaser, and it can lead to a lot of resentment because it's all coming from a place of trying to keep other people happy and other people comfortable. But while doing that, you're neglecting your own comfort and your own happiness. And things get tricky because everyone around you can be happy because of the way that we decide to shapeshift in a way, but we're still left to pick up the pieces within ourselves when we are not feeling comfortable with ourselves afterwards. I feel like with people pleasing, there's always that sense of discomfort after we've done something for validation or just doing something out of the need to avoid conflict and discomfort. I believe it's coming from a place of knowing that we are ignoring ourselves and ignoring what we really want and ignoring how we really feel for the sake of other people. And that is hurtful without realizing it. We are telling ourselves that other people's feelings and other people's comfort and happiness is more important than our own. And when we do that for a long period of time, we end up being very unhappy with ourselves. And it's not because other people did anything to us. It's not because people expect us to be accommodating. It's because we've decided to put other people's reactions and approval above our own. We're going to discuss 4 different steps that I covered on my Instagram account and on my Threads account. If you are listening because you found me on Threads, welcome. It's a great platform where people are more open to connection, in my opinion. I believe Instagram is great for showing your creative talents and just your creative side. But I feel like Threads is more about expressing yourself through your words and your feelings. And I believe many social media platforms start off that way, but I believe as it becomes more popular, it starts to become more of an advertisement. So I really appreciate Threads because it hasn't gotten to that point yet. And it's just a lot of amazing, genuine people from all over the world that are just open to connecting and sharing their opinions and growing together. So if you have not joined Threads yet, I definitely recommend you check it out and follow me there. Let's connect and let's talk. Back to people pleasing. This topic is something that I posted on my Instagram months ago, but it is something that I posted on Threads very recently. And surprisingly, on Threads, it did very well and it reached a lot of people. The most beautiful part about that was the people that it reached were those that have acknowledged that they have been people pleasers in their life, but they've worked on overcoming it and they no longer identify as a people pleaser. And that is something that I really appreciate whenever I am posting content, because it's not really about identifying with your shortcomings and that you're a victim. I am more passionate about people reading about the topics that I like to discuss and realizing how far they've come within their own life, and also deepening their own self-reflection, maybe learning more about how to take more responsibility in our lives and learning how we even got to a point of making choices that were not really best suited for us, so that in the future we choose better and we maintain that sense of self-responsibility. So we're going to discuss 4 different steps that I covered on my written post that will unpack what people pleasing truly is so that you can identify within yourself if you've overcome this, or if there's certain areas in your life where you need to reflect and you need to take responsibility and work on this a little bit more. There's nothing to be ashamed of and there's nothing to feel bad about. It's a process, and awareness is the first step, but then the second step is taking action. It's not enough to know that we're people pleasers. What are we going to do about it? And are we willing to accept that nothing changes if we don't change? Step 1 is see people pleasing for what it is. Step 2, destroy the fear of disappointing others. Step 3, feel secure without being understood. And step 4, stand strong in who you are. Let's get straight into step 1. See people pleasing for what it is. On the surface, people pleasing seems like kindness. It seems like we're being the bigger person, we're being thoughtful, we're being considerate, and therefore we are thinking about how the other person is going to act, how the other person is going to feel, and we prioritize that over ourselves, and we prioritize it over the truth. Now, the truth is, behind every action we decide to take in life, there's a function. And by that I mean there's a motive behind what we're doing, whether we're conscious of it or not. This is something that I learned when I worked as a behavioral therapist. So when we are people pleasing, it's important to ask ourselves, what purpose does people pleasing serve me? And that might sound absurd if you are in the beginning stages of accepting that you're a people pleaser. You might ask yourself, how am I possibly serving myself by putting other people's needs above my own? But the truth is, we are only people pleasing because we think that it will control someone else's reaction. We believe that we will prevent discomfort or conflict with another person. Perhaps we think that if we're not people pleasing, people are going to think we're a difficult person. And in order for people to respect us and to like us and to be around us, we have to accommodate other people. Once we realize what purpose this people pleasing serves for us in our life, we have true awareness of seeing people pleasing for what it is. And when we can see it for what it is, we can choose to be more honest and be more authentic and make a decision that our integrity is more important than the approval of other people. Many times, without realizing it, we will create a belief in our mind and tell ourselves a story, and we will convince ourselves it's a fact of life, but it's not. We only do it so that it serves our purpose. And this is something that I'm learning in a book that I'm reading currently. It's called The Courage to be Disliked. It's by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. I hope I pronounced their names right. It is a phenomenal book. One of the main points it raises is that whenever we are doing something, even if it is secretly self-sabotaging, we will convince ourselves that we have no other choice, or that it's the right thing to do, or that it's the morally correct way to live. When in reality, it's just serving the purpose of keeping us stuck doing the same things we've always been doing. And so in order to change that and to get out of a cycle that we no longer want to be a part of, we must confront the truth of why we're partaking in it, because we truly are. We're always participating in the cycles that we're experiencing, whether we want to admit it to ourselves or not. It's a matter of awareness and consciousness. We can choose to be victims of our life and our circumstances, or we can decide to take responsibility. And that's uncomfortable in the beginning. It's not easy to admit that we are where we are in life because of the choices we've made. But the sooner we get to that point, the sooner we can make better choices that lead to long-lasting happiness and fulfillment. Step 2, destroy the fear of disappointing others. Like we mentioned in the first step, everything we do serves a purpose. Avoiding the disappointment of others also serves a purpose. And usually, that purpose is to protect us from feeling discomfort or experiencing rejection. Discomfort is something that I actually touched on in a previous podcast episode. So if you want a more deeper discussion on discomfort, I definitely recommend you listen to that episode. But to summarize it a bit, discomfort is a sign that the way that we've been living our life is no longer in alignment with who we're meant to become and who we are becoming internally. Whenever we are growing and elevating and becoming a better version of ourselves, it always starts internally before the world reflects it back to us externally. So what happens is we can make decisions to no longer people please, but we will be tested again in life through the same opportunities to people please again, whether that's people that we seek validation from or conversation that we avoid having because it leads to disagreement, whatever the case may be. We have to really ask ourselves, do we really want to live our life avoiding discomfort? Is it really that bad that we have to ignore how we feel? If we truly want inner peace and not just what looks to be harmony on the outside, then we must become honest with ourselves and not just internally. We have to be honest with the people around us, whether they respond to it well or not. We are not responsible for other people's reactions to us because we can't control other people. Something that the book The Courage to Be Disliked touched on is that we have to understand what's our responsibility and what's other people's responsibility. Other people's emotions and reactions are their responsibility. And for us to make that something that we are concerned with only leads to distress. Other people are allowed to be disappointed with us. How we interpret that is our responsibility. If we think that someone being disappointed with us means that we're not good enough, or we shouldn't have said what we said or done what we've done, that's something that we have to reflect on and go within and really challenge those beliefs, because our purpose in life is not to be liked by everyone. It's impossible. And to put that pressure on ourselves is really burdensome. Perhaps in the past you've disappointed someone and things just went left. It unfolded in a lot of chaos and you would just rather avoid it because of how unsettling the situation was. But we cannot allow our past to control the decisions that we make in the present moment, because then we're basically telling ourselves that we don't have free choice. Regardless if disappointing others worked out well for you in the past or not, you still have the opportunity in the present moment to choose a new outcome. Choose to disappoint people and be totally okay with them being upset. Choose to stand up for yourself and speak your mind regardless of how others take it. And instead of focusing on the other person and how they're feeling and what they think about you, focus on yourself. Because again, how other people think, feel, and react is their responsibility. Why get caught up in something that is not your responsibility? Focus on what's your responsibility, yourself. Focus on how you feel after you finally decide to allow other people to be disappointed with you. Release the need to control other people's reactions. It will feel uncomfortable in the beginning, but it will be very freeing. Imagine trying to control something that you have no control over. That would create a lot of anxiety. And I'm sure people pleasing does create a lot of anxiety. I know that that's what I've experienced in my own life. A tip for this step, if you do have difficulty disappointing others, ask yourself, what would you do differently and how would you live your life truly if you didn't care to disappoint others? Visualize that version of you that is just unapologetically yourself. I'm not saying to be rude and disrespectful, but you can be yourself without allowing your emotions to consume you. Allow that version of you to inspire you to be courageous. All you need to do is take that leap and allow someone to be disappointed in you, and you'll realize that the fear was not real. It was something that you created in your head. so that you wouldn't have to deal with discomfort and rejection. Step 3, feel secure without being understood. It's important to really understand that approval is never a stable foundation for self-worth. It's constantly shifting, and it will make your self-worth so fragile. I feel like I've touched on this multiple times in previous episodes because of how crucial it is and how much it influences so many different parts of our life. And many times, without realizing it, we are seeking approval from others, whether it's our family, our friends, the public, our boss at work, whoever it may be. But when we do this, what happens is we stop being our authentic self for the sake of being liked. And the more that we prioritize being liked over being ourselves, the more we start to perform, and the more we pretend to be someone that we're not. It's almost like wearing a mask. And eventually, it's going to suck. It's going to feel terrible. It's going to feel like we are so disconnected from ourselves, and we don't even know who we truly are anymore, because we didn't allow ourselves to be fully seen. The only way to really achieve that inner security within yourself is to fully accept yourself, regardless if people understand every part of you. They probably won't, and I don't think anyone ever will. And that's a good thing, because when you realize that no one's going to fully understand you, you kind of have no choice but to focus on understanding yourself. And the more that you understand yourself, the more you start to love yourself, and you no longer base your sense of self-worth on if people understand you or not. It's not even personal. People are only able to understand you as much as they understand themselves. So if you meet someone that seeks approval in their own life and wears a mask in public, they're not going to understand your full authentic self, because they did not learn to truly understand themselves. They're too focused on being understood by other people. That is why it is the most beneficial decision you can make for yourself going forward from this point on to only crave understanding from yourself. That is how you will truly maintain confidence, inner security with yourself, and your sense of self-worth will skyrocket. Many times we convince ourselves, especially when we're young, that being understood was necessary for survival. But that's because we were in a point in our lives when we didn't know who we were yet. We only knew who we were through what people told us about ourselves. Now that we are adults and we realize that we get to decide who we are, we have to take ownership of who we are and focus only on becoming who it is we truly want to be, and not who we think is best received by other people. We can't be fully secure within ourselves and edit ourselves at the same time. We have to choose. We either decide to be fully secure in ourselves and express ourselves exactly as we are, or we decide to edit ourselves and curate ourselves so that other people can digest us better. Step 4. Stand strong in who you are. I feel like this can be a very obvious step. Of course, you want to stand strong in who you are, but I included this step because if you are someone that used to people please, you're going to be met with tests again and again on whether or not you fully decided to release the need to be liked by everyone. Perhaps you worked on this with your friends, and then you worked on this with your family, and then you worked on this with your boss, but we're always meeting new people in life. As we become more mature and more evolved, there's layers to the tests that we experience. Many times it can be subtle things, such as you apply to a job and then they tell you that they would love to hire you, but you would have to change something about yourself. Whether they don't want you to style your hair a certain way or dress a certain way. And if that's not who you are, then you would have to make that decision to remain secure in how you carry yourself and know that something else will be more suited for you. It can also apply to relationships. When we meet new people, when we're making new friends, and we catch ourselves being agreeable for the sake of creating harmony in the relationship, we have to ask ourselves, is it really worth filtering who I am only to later down the line realize that I wasn't being my true self, and that perhaps this relationship might not be the best thing for me and it might not be aligned with who I am and who I'm becoming. Standing strong in who you are is all about focusing on self-respect. Are the decisions that we're making rooted in self-respect? Because when we're people-pleasing, we're not respecting ourselves. We are choosing to sacrifice our authenticity for the sake of being validated and accepted by other people. If we want to experience a beautiful life, a life full of love, a life full of happiness and fulfillment, we have to truly put ourselves first. And I don't mean this as never caring for other people or helping other people. Of course, we should care for others and help others, but we need to make sure that we're caring for ourselves and helping ourselves first. Only then can we start to help other people and care for other people. Because if we prioritize other people before prioritizing ourselves, we end up creating resentment. When we create resentment within ourselves by people pleasing, we undermine our self-respect by placing other people's comfort above our own. And we are truly the only ones responsible for choosing if we want temporary approval or long-term peace. We must prioritize living in alignment with who we truly want to be and who we know we are, rather than who others are most comfortable with. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. I would love to hear your thoughts and your experiences on people pleasing, because it is something that so many of us in this world go through, and we don't even realize how harmful it can be to do this to ourselves. If it is something that you are still going through, know that it is possible to overcome it. It just takes time and practice. If I can do it and others in this world that have experienced this can do it, so can you. So can anyone. I hope you have an amazing week. I love you all. Until next time, bye for now.